What would you do as Seattle mayor to support the Duwamish tribe in their quest for federal recognition? Mr. Donaldson.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, and it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. As Seattle mayor, I would really be an advocate for working with our indigenous people, the Duwamish tribe here in West Seattle, to further their efforts to be recognized and to obtain additional federal lands. These are issues that are historical in nature, cultural in nature, and regional in nature. We have to all come together and continue to push that rock uphill. We can do it as we work as a community that is in support and in favor of making sure the recognition is due. I thank you very much for that. The city of Seattle is built over a network of waterways, and so our bridges are a vital part of our infrastructure. I am for a thorough investigation, and I would bring in outside investigators as well, be it on the federal level or even globally. Bring in some folks who are experts in these fields who can put their heads together in a committee and really come up with the best assessment of what happened. Just like the condo collapse in Surfside, Florida. These buildings and bridges look beautiful from the outside, but you never know structurally how integral they are. If they have a flaw, those flaws need to be detected and written upon on a report and then acted upon, not kicked down the road a few years. Thank you.
In achieving that really important goal.
As a person who's studied environmental impacts over the last 35 years, hence the reason I've been vegetarian for 35 years, I really have an affinity for all of our natural wildlife around Seattle, especially our orcas, our salmon. As mayor, I would go steps further to make sure that we ensure protection for them, for the waterways that they're traversing up and down, for the Elliott Bay itself, making sure it's clean, trying to stop this raw sewage runoff that is polluting our waters. These are things that are near and dear to my heart, and I would do everything in my power as mayor to lead the way in these efforts. Thank you.
Doesn't have the data that we need to be able to make decisions that get better outcomes.
I'm glad that Mr. Sixkiller actually answered the question. Yes, I support the charter amendment. In general, especially in regards to building additional housing, this is what we need. The ordinances currently are, we cannot take people off the streets unless we have a place to put them. So to build additional housing, be it tiny homes or affordable housing, what have you, hotels that are going to be renovated for shelters, is all in favor with what I'm looking at. I'm all about intervening with our homeless population. I want to find out who they are, what they're suffering from, and be able to provide those services that are needed once we get them off the street and into the adequate housing that they need. Thank you very much. We are a geographically landlocked city here, and so much land available only. People have worked long and hard to have their individual single residence homes, and I am not in favor of doing away with that and replacing it with something else. I'm much more in favor of creating a blend and a mix of mixed use, or changing our zoning and regulations and those kind of things, finding areas and pockets in all of our various great neighborhoods where we can build additional multifamily homes and those kind of things. That's what I'm in favor of. Like Casey just said, one size fit all being replaced by another one size fit all is not the way to go. You didn't get me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to make that mistake. Mr. Donaldson.
Thank you for the question. The reason our police officers are leaving in near record numbers is because they don't feel the support of our elected officials in Seattle, city council, mayor's office, also prosecuting attorney. They don't feel that they have the support of those three entities. And so I, as mayor, make no secret, I'm a friend of the police. I'm supportive of our police department. I think we need to have sign-on bonuses to recruit new officers. And in exchange for that sign-on bonus, they sign an agreement with the city for 2 years of service. If they leave in 2 years, they give that sign-on bonus back, reward good officers, punish the bad ones. Thank you very much. Yes, speaking of laws in the books, I mean, I agree that we need to enforce our laws in the books. If we don't like our laws in the books, we need to change them, amend them. We have the power to do that. And so we need to take a look at those and make sure that we know exactly what the laws say. To have an inspector general come in and override all that and say no more stops, no more this, that, that's not the right way to go about the process. We all need to have some buy-in with this as community citizens here. Also, using police officers to do traffic stops is a little bit of overkill as well. So I would be much more in favor of using officers who are not armed and are well trained in traffic stops. Thank you. I was a small business owner for 28 years, 5 years with a location in Seattle Central District on 22nd and Jackson, ground floor level from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. So we saw a lot of street disturbances from time to time. Albeit using the police department for those kind of situations is a little bit of overkill. So I would work with our neighborhood business associations, make sure that they have adequate resources to hire rent-a-cops or community liaison people who can intervene, get the information on these disturbances, file a report, and be sure to keep an eye on these kind of things. That would make the neighborhoods and the businesses feel a lot more safe than they do. Thank you.
We're ready to be your partner in that process.
Transportation infrastructure in this city and this region is critical. It's got to be a top priority of the other 2 or 3 priorities that we are always talking about. I was trying to make a lunch yesterday in DuPont on I-5 South. Didn't even make it the Federal Way by the time traffic turned into a parking lot and turned around and came back. We cannot afford to have this continue happening. The West Seattle Bridge needs to be replaced. I will be, as a mayor, cajoling, pressuring, pestering the federal government nonstop, politically speaking, of course, to make sure that we get the funding from that infrastructure bill that Biden is trying to push through and put that money towards the bridges like West Seattle and the Magnolia Bridge as well. Thank you.
Up next, we're going to ask 4 yes/no questions. And just for the sake of organization, for each one of those, we're going to go from Mr. Donaldson on down the table. And again, just a simple yes or no, no maybes, no, whatever. And then closing statements. So yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you all for your patience. All right, first of these 4 questions. Would you initiate having the city annex White Center and the rest of unincorporated North Highline?
Yes or no?
I'll go with yes.
Can you ask the question again?
Would you initiate having Seattle annex White Center and the rest of unincorporated North Highline?
No.
Yes. I wasn't ready. Sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and Skyway.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, next one. Are Seattle small businesses?
We're going to go back to Mr. Donaldson.
Yes, for each one of these questions. Are Seattle small businesses overregulated?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. My lawyer brain is at work here. Yes.
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 Would you support expanding the natural gas ban in new construction to single-family homes?
Wow. I'm going to say yes.
Natural gas ban on single family homes?
No, currently there's the city passed not allowing it in different kinds of multifamily and commercial construction. So would you
Just
support
put
expanding
yes.
that?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, with an equity lens.
Yes for all construction.
Yes.
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 And the 4th question, the mayor tends to sit on the Sound Transit Board, so that's where the relevance of this question comes. Should Sound Transit consider the Skylink gondola as an alternative to West Seattle Light Rail?
As an alternative, I'll say yes.
Yes to consider, but we've got to have light rail out here.
As an alternative, no.
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 No is an alternative.
Yes.
Yep. No.
James Donaldson for mayor. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm running as a concerned Seattle citizen. I've been here in Seattle for 40 years. I was here during the height of its glory and wonderful times. I've been here through the last 8 years of total ineptness with our three branches of government, mayor, city council, and our attorney general, our prosecuting attorney, excuse me. My cabinet would be very diverse. I mean, we have several people up here who can represent my cabinet very well. Carling with our indigenous people. Jesslyn has a young mom with young children. Andrew, a young person, barely out of his teens, doing his thing. This is what Seattle's all about. We need that diversity, and I will be a great leader for this city. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for taking the time out. Also, thank you to everybody who came by. And just a few words that the voting starts in just a matter of days. King County election sends out the ballots next week, and August 3rd is the deadline to get your ballot in. Thank you again.
As a reminder, the candidates will be posing for a picture, and so if you need to talk to them, give us about 2-3 minutes. So everybody can come to the front of the table. Mr. Donaldson, you probably know tall people in the back. Sure,